Non-compete clauses are the jealous and manipulative partner of the entire employment world, and we might be breaking up with them forever. Let's talk about it. In January 2023, the healthcare world gained an unexpected ally in the fight for decent working conditions: the Federal Trade Commission. They gained my temporary favor when they proposed a rule that would prohibit non-compete clauses in employment contracts. They're doing this because they claim non-competes constitute an unfair method of competition and therefore violate good old Section 5 of the Federal Trade Commission Act. And their own chairperson, Lisa Khan, has come out with the following statement: "The freedom to change jobs is core to economic liberty and to a competitive and thriving economy." Well said, Lisa. Well said. Now, some of you may already shudder in rage when you hear the phrase non-compete, and if you have not yet been scarred in such a way, allow me to fill you in. Here you are. You are a new grad, right? You just graduated from nurse practitioner school. You have sent out 79 job applications, and you finally got an interview that didn't want to make you immediately walk out of the room, and you've been offered a job. Hallelujah. We did it. Is it your dream job? Absolutely not. But it's a job, and it will help you get some experience and help you pay down those epic student loans that you've acquired. You'll switch jobs later, and it will be fine. We will get the dream job later. All will be well. You scan the employment contract that they send over to you, and it looks okay-ish, right? You see there's a non-compete in there which says that you can't take a job in a similar field, yada yada, within 45 miles or 3 years if you leave, and you think to yourself, that is a later me problem, okay? Current me is thrilled, beyond thrilled, to just have a job. Let's go. Fast forward 5 years. You have a way better idea of what you would like to do with your career in general. You are a lot better at your job, go you. You've developed an awesome relationship with your patients who have been seeing you for years, but you haven't been getting what you kind of see as fair raises, and you are sick of how many patients this office makes you see. You go and you ask them to, one, reduce your patient load, to give you admin time to do paperwork, and you ask them for a raise. And they decline. And you start interviewing for jobs somewhere else, and you find a new job that will not only give you a huge raise, but also will offer you better patient ratios. And the new office is even in the same town that you currently live and work in. Perfection. They are literally about to hire you. And then they ask, "But you don't have a non-compete, do you?" "Oh. Wait, yes, that, oh, you do." And that, my friends, that is where the dream, it goes to die, right? Because they won't hire you because their office is within that 45-mile radius of the old office. And they don't want to risk your current employer enforcing the non-compete and taking their employee back or dealing with all the legal issues that can ensue from this. So you have 3 options. 1, stay at your current employer who won't give you a raise, doesn't let you practice how you want, and is destroying your soul with how many patients they make you see. You could, too, find a job outside of that 45-mile radius, which involves one heck of a commute, and you would definitely pretty much lose all of your patients, which is unfair to both you and your patients because they don't want to drive that far for care. Or you could move your entire family and life and go to a new town, right? Outside of this 45-mile radius of this non-compete and start over. And that is the power of a non-compete. And the reality for most physicians, physician assistants, and nurse practitioners who frequently have non-competes built into their employment contracts. What do these contracts actually do? I will tell you, but first we must visit the other reality for patients and providers alike, the billing department.
Hello there. I'll be with you in just a sec. I'm finishing filing away YouTube Liz's BLS certification. She definitely forgot she needed to renew, but that's why I exist. Apparently. Anywho, I actually found a really cool company called Pro Trainings that let her complete the training online, even though she procrastinated until the absolute last minute, and they're kindly sponsoring this video. So let me tell you about them in case you also need to get your PALS, BLS, ACLS certification, or you just want to learn CPR in general. Come to think of it, I should probably take the course as well after seeing so many people nearly pass out when I tell them how much they owe the hospital after visiting my office. Back on topic. Pro Trainings offers fully video-based CPR courses, as well as a blended hands-on training or even in-home skills evaluation if your institution requires it. But fun fact, Many don't. You can check with Pro Training's compliance team if you have questions about whether or not this would work for you in your situation. But I was able to very easily look up and verify that for her nurse practitioner license in Pennsylvania, that this would work just fine. You know what really doesn't work just fine? Traditional CPR courses. Oh, those are hours long and make your mind melt. But good news. With an emphasis on shorter and engaging videos taught by a paramedic who is passionate about what he is educating on, Pro Trainings has a goal to deliver quality CPR training they will actually retain to as many people as they possibly can. This means anyone can take any of their courses for free. If you do require a certification, like most healthcare workers, teachers, and public service people need, you simply take the extra step of taking a test at the end and then paying for the certificate, which will be mailed to your house in a week, but available immediately in your email. They've certified over a million people. You can take the classes from the comfort of your own home, and the courses were packed with really helpful life advice. Liz said she's never gotten from other CPR classes she's taken in the basement of our hospital, where she's half asleep after her night shift. You can check them out in the description box below for all of your CPR type needs. Thank you, Pro Trainings, for sponsoring this video and providing Liz with high quality, easy to access BLS training, even though she waited until the absolute last minute, as always. Now, what was it that I could help you with? Oh, you saw they have CPR for pets as well and want to go take it right away? I understand. Well, bye-bye then.
Welcome back. So what is it that these non-compete contracts do? Is they basically say, hey, you can't work in a similar type of job or office within a certain mile radius of our employer for X number of years after you quit or get fired. At least that's how I understand it. If you want the official definition, here it is from the Federal Trade Commission themselves. A non-compete is a contractual term between an employer and a worker that prevents the worker from seeking or accepting employment with the person or operating a business after the conclusion of the worker's employment with the employer. These are an enormous headache. Not just for healthcare providers, I should add, because they affect about 30 million people in the United States. I am just very biased to healthcare contracts because that is the world that I know and I live in. So what I'll focus on mostly here today is points for that, but the general idea is the same across industries. According to a report published by the U.S. Treasury, 1 in 5 people are estimated to be bound by some type of a non-compete clause within their employment and are thus restricted from better employment opportunities. Which industries are the most likely to have non-compete clauses? There's a bunch, but the most common are things like healthcare, manufacturing, professional services like hairdressers, and tech. If you have a non-compete, let us know what industry you work in below, and let us know how much you hate them on a scale of getting to play with adorable puppies to going to the DMV. I personally hate them with the fury of going to the DMV with both of my children while the air conditioning is broken in the middle of the summer and it's packed and I forgot to bring the wrong documents. That's the energy I have towards this. Now, why are they so hated? Because if we eliminated them, the following could happen. 1, workers' earnings increase without them. The biggest way people climb the pay scale today is by switching jobs and taking one with a better salary, or by going to your employer after you've received a new job offer and saying, hey, match this please, or I'm leaving. But none of that works very well if you're in the non-compete, because if the new job is within your same location, you literally can't leave, or you would have to move really far away or commute, which is for most people not worth it for that raise that you would get. And we have data showing that this exact situation actually does play out in real life, which is always great. We love some good data. In 2008, Oregon banned non-compete agreements for many employees, and wages for those people overall rose 5% more than those who didn't have non-competes in place, and how their salaries went up as well, if that makes sense, in the years after dissolving the non-competes. And in 2015, Hawaii banned non-compete for tech workers. And compared with other states, tech workers in Hawaii started to earn more when it compared to their peers in non-competes in other states. And there's a ton more studies on these, all showing the same thing. If you eliminate non-competes, it improves competition in the marketplace and people make more money. At least employees make more money. My second reason, it completely disincentivizes employers from making working conditions that are tolerable. Because if you know that your employees can't leave, Why would you want to treat people better? You don't have to. They literally cannot leave without moving. They are stuck. And if you think for 1 second that a company will pay more to keep employees because it's the right thing to do, I am in awe of your optimism and never let that go. The third and more healthcare specific reason non-competes are harmful is they reduce patients' access to quality care. If you as a healthcare provider decide that you just can't stand your job, so you are willing to either move or commute crazy far away to work somewhere else, your patients will lose their healthcare provider that they have gained a relationship with, because they aren't likely to travel crazy distances to receive healthcare, and they shouldn't have to. But losing that relationship, especially with like primary care providers, that has huge impacts on care overall, because the relationship is the foundation to your healthcare in general. When you know a patient for years, it's so much easier to spot trends in their health or see things that you would be like, hey, that's not normal for you, versus if the patient is new to you, you might not be able to spot that. And that's assuming that there is someone else to even replace your provider in that area. In rural areas, when people have to move to get out of a non-compete, there may literally not be anyone to replace them, leaving people completely without care, which is unacceptable. And reason number 4 for my hatred in non-competes is it restricts healthcare providers from speaking freely about unsafe working conditions. Because if you speak up about how unsafe the healthcare place is, how bad the ratios are with patients, and you get fired from your employer for speaking up, you're still held to that non-compete. You can't go and get a new job near you, so now you have 0 job, you need to move or commute crazy far away. So you just won't talk because it isn't worth it. And we end up with a healthcare system that patients and providers all hate, but insurance companies and healthcare corporations love because they are raking in the cash. Awesome. Love that for us. Have I won you over to my side yet on hating non-competes? If you are somehow still on the fence, here is the argument from the other side. For the sake of being slightly less biased, but just know that if this appeals to you, you're the villain, okay? No offense, maybe a little offense, but please don't be the villain. Now, I'm sure you can guess who loves a good non-compete clause, okay? The healthcare systems, who save a butt ton of money by trapping people in their jobs where they don't have to pay them competitively or listen to their requests. And the insurance companies, they love them too. They rake in all the profits when patients are shoveled through office visits as fast as humanely possible. But they can't come out and say that it's all about their bottom line. They have to make it sound a little bit better, right? Healthcare systems claim that eliminating non-competes would drive up the cost of hospital care because hospitals would have to pay providers more to keep them. But healthcare systems are making millions and sometimes billions of dollars in profit, so maybe they would just be required to pay out less to their C-suites and eat some of that cost so that they could then pay people what they're worth. But it's honestly not even about the money a lot of times. Yes, people should be given raises and paid what they're worth. But honestly, a lot of times, healthcare providers aren't asking for a ton of money. They want things like vacation time that they can actually take, longer appointment times with their patients, admin time to do paperwork so that they don't have to do it all at night when they go home, and support for things like continuing education requirements. They just want to be treated like respected employees and not taken advantage of because they care for other humans and will usually bend over backward at their own expense to help people when they need it, even though the company they work for isn't supporting them in that. So, no. Healthcare systems, you don't need to pass on the cost to your patients. You just need to stop being so freaking greedy. And making the point of, but then we would have to pay people what they're worth, I need you to reflect on that argument and see if it's one you really want to put all your weight behind. The healthcare organizations also claim that non-competes clauses, they protect the company from employees gaining their training at these institutions and then leaving shortly after, taking their knowledge gained from the institution and their patients with them. My dude, if your institution is paying competitively and treating people well, then why would they leave? Unless they are moving, in which case a non-compete doesn't even matter. Why would they leave if you treated them well? Yes, hiring people and onboarding them, particularly in healthcare, takes a lot of money and time. So treat them well, and I promise they will stay, because switching jobs is a lot of work And it sucks. People will stay if you're decent to them. Be better, and people won't leave. Your argument is dumb. Goodbye. But me thinking their opinion is dumb won't stop them from screaming and throwing a temper tantrum over the potential change to the FTC's rules. We are not shocked here. If the FTC does change the rule, abolishing non-compete clauses, the healthcare systems and the insurance companies will likely band together under one of or a few of their lobbying groups and sue to block the rule from the FTC, claiming that the Congress has not authorized the FTC to regulate non-compete clauses. And we know that they will do this in that way because that's what they already said that they would do. So does the FTC even have the power to ban non-competes after all of that ranting we just did on the topic? They're squabbling about it currently. Here's what each side has to say. On Team Villain, the healthcare industry group state that the FTC lacks statutory authority to regulate nonprofit or tax-exempt hospitals, which account for 60% of the U.S. hospitals. Also, don't let the term non-for-profit fool you. These hospitals make gobs, and I mean gobs of money, and that is a video for another day. On the other side, Team FTC acknowledges that this might be a problem for them, stating that non-for-profit businesses may not be subject to the rule because they are indeed exempt from coverage under the Federal Trade Commission Act, the law that gives the FTC its authority. However, there are also quite a few people who think the FTC could make the decision for nonprofit healthcare businesses because previously the FTC has regulated non-for-profit healthcare systems and has not allowed them to create market monopolies, which would indicate that they can indeed regulate non-for-profit healthcare organizations. But they did use slightly different laws when they did that, the Sherman and the Clayton Act, so it's not exactly the same. Therefore, like all things in the U.S. healthcare and legal system, this is about as clear as mud, and the FTC has not helped. They have not come out and clarified their right to make this decision. They just kind of said that they could, and when they never rebutted it with why, but it's fine. Team Villain is obviously pushing hard for you can't do this and feels encouraged that they will be able to win the fight, but a faction of Team Villain that is privatized healthcare is big mad at all of this. The rule would create an unlevel playing field because we compete with nonprofits and public hospitals that would not be subject to the same rules, says Chip Kahn, CEO of the Federation of American Hospitals, which represents the for-profit hospital systems in the United States. That's their lobbying group who goes out and does all their speaking for them. This Chip Kahn person, by the way, made a base salary of $2.3 million in 2021, not counting bonuses. And his entire job is to lead a lobbying organization for privatized healthcare systems to support legislation that would make them more money. And making more money off of sick people is one of the grosser things I can think of. So we, my friends, we might have finally stumbled upon our supervillain. And he is big mad that his people may have to play nice when all the other kids get to cheat the system and keep their employees by trapping them. Poor babies indeed. Your true colors are showing, my friend, and they are not cute. So I feel like in this sense, we have a pretty good lay of the land of yes, non-competes probably should be banned and we know who our villain is, but I want to take a second look at the FTC, our unexpected potential hero. Because prior to this week, I knew from watching anti-MLM YouTube videos that you could report sketchy MLM practices to them, the FTC, but I had no idea what the FTC actually did. So let's learn about it together, okay? The Federal Trade Commission, or FTC for those on a nickname basis. Their mission: to protect the public from deceptive or unfair business practices and from unfair methods of competition through law enforcement. Their vision: a vibrant economy fueled by fair competition and an empowered, informed public. Their power: bestowed by the federal government. Per their mission statement on their website, they make laws, they get people in trouble who break their laws, and they hold conferences to promote education surrounding their mission. I'm sure they do other things too, but their general pride around holding conferences on this whole website, it gave me a giggle. Go you, I'm all for passion around education. I love to see it. From what I can gather, The FTC essentially tries to make sure that there aren't monopolies in the business sectors where one company controls a whole market, and they generally promote the free market where competition is king and is supposed to drive all things forward, right? And that becomes difficult when people are trapped at their jobs. So I see why they got involved into all of this, and I appreciate them. How, though, does the FTC actually work and make new rules like they're trying to do here? The FTC is headed by 5 commissioners, nominated by the president and confirmed by the Senate. So no voting in this by us regular people. Each commissioner serves a 7-year term, and no more than 3 commissioners can be on the same political party. And the president chooses 1 commissioner to act as the chair. When they need to make a choice or a new rule, the 5 commissioners vote on a rule, and the majority wins. And while us normal people don't get a say in electing the commissioners, we do get to publicly comment on how we think the commissioners should change rules. Here's how they describe their decision process. The FTC will review the comments and make changes in a final rule based on the comments and on the FTC's further analysis of the issue. So I pretty much read that as, well, you can comment and lobbyists can bribe us, and that's how we make our choice. But if you would like to comment and make your voice heard, you can join over 12,000 people who have thoughts on the non-compete clause issue. You can comment publicly until April 19th, 2023. So if you're watching this in real time, I think I gave you a whopping 5 days, okay, to go get this done. I will leave the website down in the description where you can go and comment. Go and be cool like me and leave your feelings, so that people who don't answer to you because you didn't elect them can make a choice without listening to your opinion at all. But it feels good to just kind of get it out there. You know what I mean? But silver lining, if you do actually want to make your voice heard to people who you do actually elect, therefore they kind of are supposed to listen to you in theory, because if you don't, you can just not elect them next time. You can support legislation in the Senate right now that is attempting to restrict non-compete clauses and would authorize the FTC to make these rules and come up with action. It could absolutely use your support because similar legislation has been introduced many times in the last few years and always gets stalled. And if I was having to bet, I think our villains might have something to do with why it gets stalled with all their lobbying. But we can fight them, okay? If you would like to see non-compete clauses go away, please write to your senator and voice your support for the Workforce Mobility Act. It has been referred to the Health, Education, and Labor and Pensions Committee in the Senate, and if enacted, the act would empower the Federal Trade Commission, the U.S. Department of Labor, and the state attorney generals to investigate and enforce a sweeping ban on non-compete agreements. It has bipartisan support, which is incredible. Nothing ever gets that anymore. There are 21 states represented in the Health, Education, and Labor Pension Committee, and I will leave a link down below so you can see if your senator is in there. And if they are, and you want to tell them why you think they should support this bill, I'll leave another link in the description that just has resources on how to find your local lawmakers, how to contact them, and includes templates that you can use to write them emails or letters just to make the process a little bit easier. Let them know why you think it's good or bad idea. But to be clear, thinking that it's a good idea and a good bill, that's the right answer. Speaking of answers, the wrong answer to all of this is how the AMA responded. As with most things, I want to see what our resident supervillain, the American Medical Association, had to say about all of this. And they did not disappoint. They wrote an entire letter to the FTC because the public comment box was not good enough for them. And in that letter, they explained that non-competes are basically destroying physicians' abilities to practice well and advance appropriately, and how it destroys patient relationships and how non-competes inhibit care. And I initially thought that it may be the first time the AMA and I had agreed on something, and I was feeling kind of unsettled, but alas, at the very end of the letter, they were like, but we think you should just leave it to the legislation and the states and not overstep your boundaries here. And we don't support you making this change. It really felt, reading it, like they had a super passionate physician writing the entire thing and being like, yes, I hate non-competes, and then swapped out the last few lines from one of their own cronies saying but we're gonna toe the line and you do you. Very odd, but very predictable. Thanks for at least being constant, AMA. is what's up with non-compete clause legislation. How fun. Have you been trapped in a non-compete? Do you have big feelings to share with the group? We would love to hear them down in the comments. Don't forget to write your senator and share your public thoughts with the FTC. Always have a employment lawyer look over your own employment contracts so you maybe can get out of one of these things. And remember that you are not alone in feeling defeated by this system. You are also enough. We are enough to change it. And we can do hard things. I will see you next time, friends. Bye.